Hello, everyone. So I had the honor of leading a women's only workshop yesterday, not workshop, day retreat yesterday. It was a full day retreat at Heartwood Yoga uh, Institute and Retreat Center, Heartwood Retreat Center. It's on 7+ acres, and it's really lovely there. I have done so much healing there myself in my yoga training, my yoga therapy training. Reiki training. The Florida Reiki Association is there, and so much of my healing and my transformation, that place has a special place in my heart, because of all of that. That doesn't mean that I can't have it anywhere else, but I absolutely enjoy going there and sharing what I've learned, what has been able to help me substantially navigate life. Not only navigate life, let me just talk about um, become my own friend and my own advocate, and how I not only empower myself and give myself permission, but these ladies leave a little stronger, a little more with their voice, or a little more, excitement about speaking their voice, or something. They leave there better. And it's always wonderful to hear the comments. And I don't know where I was going with it, but I sure did have an amazing day yesterday. An amazing day yesterday. And where I was going with it was when we plan these events, we can only guesstimate how long things are going to take. It's sometimes a little bit more precise you can get on things than others, but a lot of it has to do with conversation and participation. You don't know if you're going to have a talkative group of women. You don't know if you have a group of women that don't want to talk. So how much space, time slot do you kind of leave for that? And also weather, you can't control weather circumstances, and et cetera, et cetera. And generally, I over plan. I like to really have, if somebody's going to trust me with not their money, okay, but their time. If they're going to trust me with their time and their money, and just trust me to be in that space, you know, it's going to be good. I'm giving my entire heart to it. Everything I've learned, I try to put into it that I know has helped me. But anyway. So the day retreat is new. This is only my second one that I've done. I've always done a lot of workshops. The reason I'm talking about all this is because I listened to a podcast this morning. So we'll get to that. The workshops are a little bit different than the day retreat. Day retreat is, the word retreat means I'm on a rest. Don't make me do a whole bunch of activities and go home just as exhausted. Retreat means rest to me. So it's different than my workshops. My workshops are only 3 hours or 4 hours or something like that. And it's boom, 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 boom. And we do, I don't want to boom, 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 but it's because it's still restorative. It's still laying down and getting a guided meditation, yoga nidra, and all of that. But it's different. It's not as loose for conversation. Let's put it that way. Much more conversation, much more opportunity for self-reflection and conversation in the day retreat, because it's double the time. But so in planning of it, I'm always, is this good enough? Is this good enough? Is this what I want to offer? Is it good enough? And the guest speaker we've just recently had, Rosemary Watala Trauma, she has a podcast, And she has other forums, and she has writing opportunities if you want to do writing. She has like workshops periodically through different venues. Um, anyway, I've been popping in a few things here and there, and I think it was listening to her podcast a couple days ago, a couple days before the workshop, because I was trying to wrap it up, complete the plan. And I kept stumbling, is this good enough? And I heard her saying, it doesn't matter if it's good. It's if it's true. And I'm thinking, this is true. This is my heart here in this. Um, and then it made me think that if it's true, it's divine, and which means it's good, right? It's perfect. So I kind of had it a little bit. It was definitely planned. It was actually set. It was all it rather wrapped up rather rounded up very perfectly to where the title of it was Peace, Joy, Renewal. And it formed itself is what they usually do. This one just happened to be a little bit differently, I suppose, the way it took place. But um when we got there, so the time slot I had for introductions in the morning part when I first got there was about a half an hour. There was only 6 ladies, so I gave about a half an hour. And won't you know, apparently we had a pretty good talkative group, and it took longer. And what was beautiful about it is like I wasn't, I was present, is what I was. What I'm trying to say is this message, this book, I think is helping with that and some things I'm hearing on these podcasts. So I'm just sharing what helps me. I was present with it. I wasn't freaking out, saying, no, we got to stay to a plan. The whole idea of these spaces is to whatever's weighing on you, heavy or not heavy, is to share and to let your energy change up and to help you express, help us express, and help us grow and help us get stronger and so on. So I'm like, I'm not going to shut this down. No way. So anyway, and then of course I was able to make up, but it ended up being a perfect day. Not only that, it was the weather all of a sudden. I'm going to tell you, it was rain, storming, thunder, and lightning. Lightning was so close, we were seeing sparks. We were inside the building, seeing sparks out there. So we weren't able to get back to the other building in the time slot. And I just wanted to say that I wasn't disturbed by any of this. And it went absolutely perfect. Might have been the best of anything I've had, which, whether that's true or not, I don't know, because there've been a lot of very powerful events. And so today I'm listening to Rosemary's podcast again, which is Emerging Form. And they were talking about trusting ourselves. And this actually came up in a conversation yesterday with some of the ladies at the day retreat. We were talking about trusting ourselves. And she was talking about trust today. She said, I trust love to show up and help me. Because the one lady was saying that, I think it's Christine something. There's a co-host, Rosemary, and I think it's Christine. I'm very new to it. I'm sorry, I don't know all these details. emerging form. I do know that. They have their co-host, they have conversation. Sometimes they have guests, it looks like. Not sure, because I'm, again, just learning about it. And I don't know what episode this was, but I will listen to it again, because they were talking about let's see if I have. They were talking about trust. And the one lady, Christine, I think it was saying, no, I've got the channel here, but I don't quite know how to. No, I don't see it right away. But anyway, the one lady, I think her name was Christine, she was saying something to Rosemary about how Rosemary has a definite skill, because it is a skill when something happens in life, for her not to get, oh, well, why did this happen, and go backwards, like why, and all this, well, all this stuff. She just cuts right to it and says, okay, this is where I am. What are we going to do? And Rosemary and the lady Christine said that to her. She said, you have an incredible skill to not go back, not fall back into why me, or what this, or what that, or how come, or any of that. She just, okay, this is what I have. What are we going to do with it? And Rosemary said that, well, I trust love will show up. And then she said some other stuff to it. And I'm like, well, okay, there you go. And that's being present. That's being present. And I think that probably is what really attracts me to Rosemary, is her very realness. And I think that's why I like this therapeutic writing that we've been doing as a group. And I do writing with other groups. Is it's real, it's honest, and it's vulnerable. And you just don't see that too much anywhere else. So let's quit my gabbing and get to the message. Whoops. It's just they're impactful days to me as well. And each one that I have, some of these days that go by, mean a lot to me too. So it's interesting. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for coming by. We're talking about being present for our own lives this year. We're following the Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. So, in efforts for me to slow my mind down, to receive this, I want to be on a calmer frequency when I hear and receive these messages. So I use this music to do so, and help me release a couple layers of stimulation, including my own hair. I'm a little bit excited today because it was empowering. So taking a few minutes to soften everything. Softening my forehead. I always start at the top. I like to soften my crown, soften the skull, the forehead, the muscles around the eyes, all the little tiny muscles around the eyes, my cheeks, cheekbones, my whole cheeks, facial expressions, letting them release the jaw, and then taking the neck from side to side, shoulders away from the ears, and just breathe a little slower. To me, a deep breath wants to come in when I get right there, so I let it. Welcome to Zenful Conversations. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here for some great conversation. If you're here listening, it means that you care about this message this year. It means something to you on some level, or you would not be here. So what does it mean to you is the question to ask yourself of yourself. Me too. The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo, New York Times best-selling book, described as having the life you want by being present to the life you have. The life you have. I liked yesterday's message, all that we are not. Remember that one was talking about how I can easily over-identify with my emotions and roles becoming what I feel. That was yesterday's message. I did like that a lot. Today, the message we're offered today is just day number 1980. It's titled A Little Fish Story. A Little Fish Story. The instant fish accept that they will never have arms, they grow fins. Let's hear it again. The instant fish accept that they will never have arms, they grow fins. Let's take a breath with that. Do we recognize that at all yet? Even I recognize this energy of that sentence anyway. Let's see what he has to say. I confess I was surprised to wake one day with this knowing about fish. It seems a riddle to decipher. After living with it for a while, I've come to feel that it holds another key to faith. That before we can be what we are meant to be, we must accept what we are not. This form of discernment asks us to let go of those grand fantasies that take us out of our nature, that make us work to be famous instead of loving or perfect instead of compassionate. Ooh, I like that. Do you see how changing a word, just a word, the whole energy of everything changes? Let me just go back to my workshop things, right? I do want them to be perfect. You bet your sweet booty I do. Do everything I can to make sure every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and then some. And you can ask anybody it's been, and I think you'll probably get a good answer on that because it's real. It's a real thing I'm offering from my heart. It feels good. But if I change that word from perfect to compassionate, that's so much less pressure. And I bet it'd free up some space to show up even better myself. There's always room for improvement. But wow, changing a word changes the entire energy of it. How we tell ourselves, because that's what I'm telling myself. I want it to be perfect. No, I want it to be compassionate. Wow. This form of discernment asks us to let go of those grand fantasies that take us out of our nature. Perfect. That make us try to make us perfect instead of compassionate. Yet the instant we can accept what is not in our nature, rather than being distracted by all we think that we could or should be, the instant we accept what's not in our nature, rather than being distracted by shoulda, coulda, doing this and that, all that we could or should be, then all our inner resources are free to transform us into the particular self that we are aching to be. Let me clean that up a little bit. The instant we can accept what is not in our nature, first, that is honoring ourselves. Because we may know it, but we may not stand up for it. So that's a definite honoring ourselves there. The instant we can accept what is not in our nature, then all our inner resources are free to transform us into the particular self that we are aching to be, because we're not giving space to that. We're giving space to the should or could. It's making so much sense when it's put so bluntly. The practice is implementing it and remembering and implementing. The instant we can accept what is not in our nature, instead of the we could or we should or any of this judgment and shame bullshit that we do, then all our inner resources are free to transform us into the particular self we are aching to be. So the practice is to do it less, without judgment, of course. For me, this act of acceptance is a risk that frees us, because we can't find the growth that awaits us until we give up what is against our very nature. It is this surrender, without knowing what will happen next, that's that trust love to show up. I love that, Rosemary. Not knowing what will happen next, that allows our lives to truly unfold. The meditative exercise we're offered today asks us to sit quietly. So let's sit quietly for a minute. Let's take a couple breaths here. Let's have a moment of quiet together. Just a couple breaths. Sit quietly and allow your true nature to rise within you. Without trying to name it or understand it, simply close your eyes and breathe it into your hands. Breathe evenly and allow your true nature to find gestures in your hands. During your day, play with these gestures. That's a fun little exercise. What a nice message. Nice message. I'll say that because this is about acceptance. There's a lot in this message. But I know that I had to love myself before a couple things happened. And that was a form of acceptance. For sure. For me. And my story. It was a definite form of acceptance. But I'll tell you, it's amazing how much the practice can do, because I'm feeling pretty darn great now. And yes, it's been a decade. It's been a decade. And I don't think there's an end to it. So it's not about finally letting that something go. It's about learning. For me, it's about learning how to dance with this throughout the day and enjoy the dance the best I can. Well, thanks so much for coming by. Thanks so much for your love and your incredible support, and for joining this conversation and being a light in this world. In gratitude, so much gratitude. See you tomorrow. Namaste.